going to last around 20 to 25 years. Okay. And that's with an average sharpening of probably about every 6 months. And that can be the life expectancy of the shear. The cool thing about that warranty, that lifetime warranty, is it follows the shear, not the stylist. Okay, so like if you're going to retire in 10 years and you have somebody that maybe you've been mentoring or something, you can just hand it to them. If I walk into a shop and I see that logo, I'm going to service that shear as if it was part of yesterday. So that's one thing to know, because the shears generally can last you much longer than most shears. This is also, all of our blades are hand forged out of certified Japanese steel. So that's always an important element of knowing, because it maintains the integrity of the steel much better. This is also a molybdenum line steel, as far as the alloy, and the alloy just means it's multiple types of steel that are blended in to make the shear. And this is what we consider a wet to dry cutting shear. What that means is if you're predominantly a wet cutter, I like kind of use a ratio like an 80-20, and then you like to do some dry finishing and detailing. Then that's what's going to give you about that 6-month life expectancy between sharpenings. If you do a lot of dry cutting, then we have the next lineup, which has that brush finished. This is a much denser steel. It's a VG10 grade Japanese steel with a high level of carbon in it, which helps maintain the strength of the shear over time. And this has a life expectancy around 35 years. And you'll notice that you can do your commercial hair, you can do your dry hair, you can do your wet hair. You pretty much can cut any hair with this shear, and you'll get it sharpened about once a year.
Okay. How do you know when to change from the length of the shears? Like, why would you get a longer one versus, like, those are real long?
So a lot of it, and I mean, Greg can talk a little bit about why he uses what he uses. A lot of it comes down to preference, right? So, and then also too, and that's one of the awesome things about Hanzo and what I've learned is that, like I know Ashley's not going to be able to cut with this shear because she's left-handed. So and a lot of it comes into talking to you and saying, okay, what's your clientele makeup like? What type of cutting do you like? Are you more of a precision and detail cutter, or do you like to be a little bit more creative? What's your mix of male to female clientele? Because depending upon what type of cutting you're doing, as Greg said, time is money. Then a lot of times we would sit there and say, okay, you might want to go to a longer shear if you're doing a lot of shear over comb, versus if you're doing a lot of bobs and precision work, then maybe you want a 4.5, 5 active shear. So it just depends on what that is. And then I'll let you kind of speak to the sizes of what you use and why you use them.
Well, I always like a 7-inch just because I like 7-inch shears. I just like the length. I like how it feels in my hand. I'm a little gaudy sometimes. I like big jewelry. I like big shears. So I just feel like I'm doing something. Heavy in my hand. I'm flipping it around. But one of the main functionalities of having a longer shear, for a pointing cut shear, is to go deeper into cutting or eliminating bulk.
Okay,
So when you have a long
deeper
section of commercial extension, you can have an 8-inch and go in there, real good to thin out that bulk and get, because you're gonna hold your comb parallel to the strands of hair and go in like that, and that's gonna loosen up a lot of the bulk. But you need a long pointed shear to do that. So they created that for you. Like I said before, there's a lot of different ways to get to the end result. And so certain it's like having the pieces that you need to in a recipe. So you need a piece for this, and you need a blender for this, or you need a crock pot for that, and you need a toaster for this.
That's
whatever.
why I was wondering how many different shears do you normally use on a haircut?
I can use up to 3 on a haircut. It just depends on what I'm trying to do. So I'm switching out now. What I did for her front, so you guys probably missed that. And again, this is just rough draft, so it's gonna look kind of crazy. But that section that I left out in temple, I created opposite diagonal sections. Okay, I took that and I elevated my hand up so that it could collect length towards the face. okay, as I cut, and I matched it with what I had previously cut, okay, and then I took another section there and did the same, and then I took the last section there and did the same. So it's still like rough draft, but it just leaves some length around her face that I can play with and customize, okay, and I just did that on the other side as well. So even though it's real long, it's not gonna stay that long, but I needed to customize it.
Right.
I mean, I need that so that I can decide how I'm gonna customize it as I go along. So now I'm gonna start to clean up this area. I feel like I'm so tall.
Are you using the V2s or the 42s?
These are the V2s. And the reason why I like the V2s, they're in between the V3 and V1. So I'm going to use some 3Ts as well, which is like the V3s. And they have more teeth. This has a little less teeth, and then there's one that the V2 or the VT1 has even less teeth. Now, the VT1s is nice for the apex area. You know, when you're going through and notching and kind of loosening it up, creating some texture. You know, when you're all up in the occipital from the sides and all of that area, you can use these, which is the in-between the V2s. Okay, it's the VT2. Now, when I'm focusing on that nape area and I want to get more fine blend, I'll switch off to more teeth, which I'll do that with my 3Ts. My 3Ts.
So as the number gets higher, it's more teeth.
Not
Right.
necessarily.
Not,
So,
well, yeah,
yeah.
but in this series
It is,
in the
okay.
And my
Yeah, and the Mamba. So the Mambas are the dry cutting texturizers. So it's that dry cutting
Okay.
steel. The 3T is the same as our 14T. The 3 series just means it's a swivel shear. So you either have a single or double swivel, and that's the curved tooth texturizer. I'll pass that around and see you using that. The VT2 is coming around right now. One of the other elements is unless something's changed from the research that I've done and heard from the company, is we're one of the few, because 99% of the people that I know when they texturize dry, is that we're one of the few companies that actually make texturizers with the harder and the more denser steel. So that's one thing. As well as too is when you look in between the teeth of the texturizer, you'll notice that it's rounded out grooves. So that's also the ability of, that you'll, as you're going over, it's not going to pull or snag the hair. And like Greg was talking too, if it's something that you're using longer hair and extensions, you're able to really kind of get that texturizer in and be able to pull it along the hair without pulling or snagging the hair. So your client's not going to, jump out of their seat because you just pulled the hair out.
So what I'm doing now, I'm just going in and using my V2s to create some more blending. So what I'm doing is I'm going a little bit past the nape, pulling out, and going in constant movement up at the same time as cutting. I can't stop and continue to cut at all because it's going to create a hole. So it has to be a constant movement up, and then it'll start to lay. Now, this would be different if her hair was relaxed because she wouldn't have all this sticking out. So I think what I'm going to have to do is probably mold this part after I'm done. But, okay, she's...
I did was I too much?
No!
That natural hair changed the game.
Whole game.
She probably was looking too like, I don't know how you gonna know that. I'm like this.
She just turned that into asking to learn and tell.
Okay. So, but basically going in a little bit above the nape into the occipital and moving forward still is preserving length here. So if I want to kind of keep that little fringe, the play fringe, then, I can customize it after it's dried out of the mold, and then I can kind of, piece it out. But if I started right there, if I wanted to do more of a fading out, I could start right there and just move really slowly up, and fade it out. Which I don't want to fade her out because she's natural, so I need to keep some length for her. And so basically I just do that on both sides until I can see the blend. I have to eye that, It's something that is more freestyle. But I know as I'm using these, I'm not getting a lot of gaps. The other thing is you want a very sharp shear to do this, because if you're not using a sharp shear, you have those dull shears that you use, and of course that can create more split ends, especially if you're doing a trim. You know, so the whole point of whole thing about the split end is got that V at the end. So pretty much it's called actively splitting, where it's split and it's exposing the cortex layer. And so like a branch or anything like that is cracking up, you know. So if you don't have a sharp shear or something of, you know, some good steel to nip it, you know, because you can nip it and it's still a little crack, or you just cracked it up some more, and everywhere you cutting, you just cracking the ends, you know.
Right, just exposing all the cortex.
And then after a while, your client is coming back like, well, my hair still seems so fresh. Don't do that texturizing thing no more, because it's got my hair light, you know. But really, you still can. You just need a sharp shear to do that with, so that you can do your blend and you can cut that cuticle right where it needs to be cut the right way. A lot of times, you know, people feel like I'm growing my hair out. I need my ends clipped every 6 weeks, and that's like such a myth. You know, it just doesn't even make any logical sense. How could you, if your hair growing 1/3 an inch a month, and then every 6 weeks you cut that 1/3 an inch that you grew?
Right.
So then
We had to stand
you got
still.
your girls just staying in one side, like, ooh, my hair, since I was a little girl, my hair ain't never grown. Like, well, stop clipping me in so much. How about you clip them right the first time, you know, and then you just take care of them after that. There's a lot of techniques, a lot of conditioning, a lot of agents you can use, create moisture retention in the hair, you know, to keep those ends solid.
So what do you recommend? How often?
In this can right here.
Design.
Design Essentials.
Yeah,
Trying
that
to
is
keep
good,
it
Dad.
beautiful and healthy.
But your
They got-
timing, like sometimes needing your ends trimmed.
Right, well,
What's your
a person who's not taking
everybody's
care of their
different.
ends is going to need it clipped more often, and then that's just a catch-22 if you
Okay.
keep having to get your ends clipped from it. And that's, you know, either not cutting it properly and or not conditioning it and keeping the ends together. With the, man, I hate when I lose my little train of thought. It's okay. Dang, I hate that. I'm sorry, y'all.
It's okay.
But when you are cutting the hair the right way and taking care of it, you have to let your clients know that they need to put their hair up at night.
Yes.
You know, they need to wrap, period. You know. Now, if it's, I stress that on textured hair, because when you're working with textured hair, it's a lot more dry. It's naturally on the drier side, and it's just more delicate. It's more fragile.
It is.
So it's zigzaggy, coarse, and all that. It's the most fragile hair
Yeah.
It
in
is.
the world. Okay, so it needs special care.
Yes.
Why would you feel like it didn't if it's so fragile? You know, and you know, honestly, back in the day, there's a lot of prep in doing our hair. You know, when we go over across the Atlantic and things, there was a lot of preparation, ritualistic in a sense. You know, so why everybody trying to take the shortcut now?
Right. You're right.
You know, it's preparation. You know, it's it used to be an honor. You know, you could touch somebody's hair, a privilege. So, you know, you still have to keep those things in mind when you're working with any kind of hair. You know, because there's energy in the hair, all that. Anytime that you cut the hair, you're releasing your past. You're releasing a lot of stuff, baggage. You know, symbolic. You feel that way. You feel lighter, literally and
So
figuratively.
true.
You know, so let me go on with this. As I get to the front, I'm actually elevating my comb a little bit to preserve that length again, and I'm still going up in a constant movement with my texturizing shear to create that blend. So now as I get to the top, and you know, I always say that it's about making things easier. So I know what I'm going for. I know that she's gonna be close cropped on the sides and in the nape, and I know she's gonna be a little lengthy on the top. Cause everybody know the Khalees, right?
Yeah.
Basically, she over here on this picture.
Oh,
Up
okay.
here. You see how that's a little lengthy but still short on the side. We have a little bit more length in the occipital area. Okay, and then all of her major length is in the apex and in the top. Okay, so that's what we're going for. So because I already know that, you know, I'm going to start to make my job easier. And from the crown area, I'm going to start taking this hair back to that middle occipital where I want it to fall, and I can just cut it off. I'll use my point cut.
Turner.
What is that?
Turn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm gonna bring this down to my occipital part, and I could just cut that.
See how they did it longer.
Right there, and then I'm gonna start bringing everything back, because of course bringing it back helps it to collect length in the opposite direction. I'm always point cutting because I don't need a lot of straight lines while I'm cutting dry. You know, when you cut horizontally, you tend to create a lot of weight in the hair. You know, when you cut vertically, you release the weight. You know, you kind of diffuse the weight. So if I went in here like this and did the same kind of cut, I'm gonna break that weight up. You know what I mean? So vertical gonna break the weight up. Horizontal gonna create the weight. Okay. Right now I don't care about creating too much weight because I'm gonna still blend it out. But I want to make my job easier, and so I'm just going ahead and point cutting. And you can see it stops here, but it's starting to get lengthy. You know, then it's going to travel towards the front. You said hello? Okay, hello.
I have to
I
probably
ain't heard that.
message you or get you get a link.
Hello. And see, I can chop right through this because it's so sharp. And some people underestimate, you know, having a sharp shear. It's important when you give a proper cut. Because if you are just using some dull shears, then, you know, I mean, it's always a little bit janky on the men's, you know. I mean, you can seal it, put your little pomade on it or whatever, curling wax, you know. But you just temporarily fixing something, whereas you need to just nip it in the book. Because then you don't have to use a lot of product. You can just let it flow.
Yeah.
Or a little Silk Essentials real quick. Lights.
You said
And then you see it got a world lengthy because I don't even have to cut that much no more. You still following that previous
Right.
guide that I created in the occipital area.
So Greg, I know I follow you on Instagram. You do a great job. I mean, I know you personally, but I do follow you.
Follow
But
you on Instagram.
one thing that I was going to ask you, especially when we invest in these shears, right? The way to let people know that now, not only am I have these shears, but I want you guys to know I'm doing cut and color, and Instagram and social media is the key to letting people know that you're doing this, right? How did you really let people know that this is what you specialize in? I know you specialize in a whole lot of things,
That's a good
but
question.
now when you come to me, I'm going to give you the cut you want. Phone rep lotion?
But now, what was the last part you said? I apologize.
What? How did you promote that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Good question. Yeah.
Did you already blend the sides blended too?
They just blended too.
No,
It's
but
still rough
I
draft.
want to see.
No, I didn't blend these sides.
Oh, okay, I
still
see
just
it.
took
Okay,
everything
yeah, the way it
okay.
fell though, I see now.
Right, because that's technique.
Yeah, that's technique.
Okay.
That's what I was looking for. I said I can't wait till you get them sides.
Okay, you like, wait,
But
did you
look.
get them sides? Not check, well, not check.
But it looked good, and they look good. It's all falling together.
Uh-huh.
That's why I was like, I missed
Honestly-
that part. Okay.
Right, it just been molded down and was just, relaxed and stuff. She could
Now,
almost go
Could
like
you
that.
do that?
Mhm.
Right. That's what I like. But could you do me a favor and do like a diagonal picture? Can I see something?
Huh?
I just want. Can I see?
You want to see the whole thing?
No, I want to.
You can come up here too.
Okay, great.
This is fine, yeah. You know Right, but I'm not
But
finished.
I know you're not. I just want
So,
to see where you at
where
now.
it's at,
Okay.
right,
But
that's cool.
that is excellent. You could be
This
finished
is
if you want.
okay. But it's just that's how we have rules. And you stay in the confines of the rules, then you can
Create.
You have
Great job.
a map. Like a place to go. And then once you kind of have built this structure out, then you can go color outside the lines a little bit. But this is foundation. You just need to have that. I wanted to get back to that question. So, for me on the social media tip, what I tell people about that and how, I got going with that and what I specialize in, I just started putting it out there, and I started to think of creative ways of how to put it out there, because you can put it out there and put it out there, but if you're doing the same old kind of putting it out there all the time, you gotta switch it up or they get bored. Because it's fickle. It's like you your own channel. So you're a creative director. You are the manager. You are, the PR. And so you have to come up with the themes. What's our theme this week? What is what am I specializing in? What am I feeling this week? I'm gonna probably need some rap script. I think I got some in my bag. See as this lay. Okay.
That's right.
That was coming out.
Yes.
Okay. At first it don't make sense. But sometimes I feel like when the cut is starting, thank you so much. When the cut is starting to look crazy, we get deterred a little bit, discouraged. And so then we start going other directions, thinking that we didn't
But
mess up,
usually
so
we
gotta
did
go
it
this
right.
way. But you need to stay in
Your vein.
foundation. You have to have faith in your technique. It's the same way with color too. Once you get that dual coating down, you have to have faith that what you're using is working properly. Because as it's processing, it look like a whole different color. Then you rinse it out, you're like, oh, it is.
Okay.
And I had a lot of times where I had to just go on faith.
Yeah. That's how you be.
Yeah. That's true. That's
Rinse
facts.
out, and I was like, woo. Okay, now I know how to do this blind.
Yes.
But you have to go through those things, and if you don't, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
That's right.
Take them risks.
That's why we're creative.
So I better hurry this up.
Shit.
That water.
She has good hair. Very good hair.
It's gonna be okay now. So, I just started to really promote what I wanted to do.
Right.
I didn't want to promote anything else but what I wanted to do. And so I just, over time, a plant that you put a seed into the ground, you're not going to see the flower the next day. You have to water it, nurture it, be patient, not look for the growth. I use that terminology with clients all the time who trying to grow their hair out. You can't look for the growth. You have to just stay on your regimen. Have the faith in what your regimen is. And just wait it out. You need to say a little prayer. Then you can depend on God. And if you have faith in God, you'll be all right. So when you plant that seed, you gotta wait. It might not, come to the spring. You plant it in the winter. But you have to wait. So, my social media honestly is an accumulation of a lot of effort and love over the past 2.5 years. You know, I started off, I had 1,000, 2,000, whatever. You know, everybody starts the same place.
You right about that, Cindy.
You know, so you gotta just work with it.
Yeah, I like that.
And,
Length on that side.
I'm gonna just let this dry. The good thing about this too, a little trick, is that when you wrap the hair, when the hair is already dry, it don't have to be under the dryer so long.
Yes.
Hold this.
Have your papers ready.
For the
They
most.
do, because it's one. You have that dryer on?
Yes, nails by Naya.
Okay. Nails by Naya.
Yes. Yes, she is.
Alright. Okay.
Yes. New look for school and everything. Yes.
Decided you wanted to cut your hair off in the back.
That's a good question.
I've
I
been
would want
saying
you
I
to-
want to cut my hair real short, haven't I?
Yeah, she has.
You just said it sitting beside me, but I should have
She has. She has been.
Okay.
Our chair.
Y'all making it so scary.
I know. Her hair is so pretty. Anyway, it's going to be banging.
I don't rip my jeans off.
You said trying to get new cut, new life. Yeah. Too.
We ready.
Maybe I'll give me a man, y'all. Hey, all right, you gotta have faith in something.
That's right.
Well, we all need to live for now.
You right about
So,
She natural too.
oh, but just continue off of what I said. So, it's just been a long stream of time that has built, you know. And I be telling people, you know, you have to have your knack. You know, it's your knack, and then people come to you for that. So people are not going to come to me for weave or, you know, braids or, you know, some people still come to me to twist their locks because I used to have locks, so I still have some clients that I twist their locks. But most people are going to come to me for cuts. And if that's what I want to do, that's what I'm putting out.
Okay.
I put out cuts and color. Now also, you know, as far as increasing the value of my service, I'm going to add some things to my service. You know, some people feel like they don't just go up and they don't change anything about their service. You know, they just, you know, feel like, oh, I'm going up this year. Y'all are, it's $5 more. You know, and it's like, okay, well, for the same thing, you know. So you gotta kind of give an incentive for a higher price. So when my clients come, I make sure that my environment is lush, you know, so that they feel like they about to pay for this. You know?
That's
And
important to
then,
look.
you know how I
No
treat
goodness.
you know, even though we might be casual and cool, but when I'm spitting that terminology,
That's right. That's right.
Hey, what's up? We doing a relaxer service today? You know, they like, oh, this is a relaxer service. You know, or it's not like we're gonna do a perm.
Right. Totally different feel. You're right. Totally different energy.
So
Yeah.
basically, you know, I keep it very, you know, we cool, we have fun, but just I want you to know that
Our professionalism. That's
because I
right.
didn't go through all this training to just be like whatever.
Right.
At work. You know, I came and did the training for a reason. I did the
God bless
training
you.
so that I can, bless you, sorry. I did the training so that I can increase the value of my service. And so, doing the training, I have to initiate that in my service. So basically, when they come in, have a nice environment, we come in, we laugh. I'm always trying to be upbeat with them. I remember things about them. How did that work out last time? I know we went shorter than that. You know, I, you know, provide steam treatments. They're included with the service. It's not an extra. You know, I don't upcharge everything because clients get confused, you know, and then they like,
It's too much.
oh, what, the mountain too high. I'm not gonna go up that mountain, I'm gonna go over here. You know, if it's just set, bam, bam, they like, oh, okay, I think I could just do that. You know, it's not like,
You
oh,
climbing
girl, I
up
can't
it.
come to you no more. So, it's like that. So, I'm going to get into this. But certain things I just always include. You know, if they need a little trimming, I might throw that in. You know, you've been coming for 2 years. I appreciate you.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
I don't nickel and dime every single
That's
thing.
right.
Yeah.
Ain't supposed to.
And the other thing about it too, real quick, is that you know you can't always look for compensation through financial. You know, when
They bring you
give,
lunch.
you receive. You know,
They
so when
bring
you
you
give
books.
out of your kindness, everything that you're doing out of good intentions, you have the right intentions. Those things come back, even if it's
Yes,
not
they
from
do.
money.
That's right.
You know, I have a lot of opportunities
Church.
that I did not necessarily for pay, you know, but turn around and I got another opportunity that gave me pay.
Right.
You know, so it's about having the foresight, looking beyond, you know, just what's tangible. Everybody reaching for the money and this and that,
And
you
it's
know.
not.
You think broader than that.
Right. Because that's coming.
So I'm gonna section this out right behind the ear. It is. I see it's a little crunch. That's why I pulled my flat iron out.
That is
It's
still
like I
good.
might have to use
Mm-hmm. Your
that,
hair is very healthy.
but it's all good. How you guys enjoying the class so far?
Very well.
But no, I said it's ask and learn, not just look and learn. So if you have any questions.
So parting is important.
Parting is
Gives you
important
control.
so that you can, it gives you control. And you can stay within the confines of that section. Because if I just left everything, I've been to start cutting this, and then once I go to cut it, I'm like, oh, this lopsided, and I keep cutting, and this is just all then you're lost and discouraged, you know? And you're like, I don't cut no hair. I'm not a cutter. I'm just a weaver, or whatever. You know, and you don't want to do that, don't get that. So, basically, it's a number of ways I can do this, which is, now, first of all, let's talk.
Okay.
Yeah, talk to her.
Back up in
I just said, hold on now, wait. I know we just had a conversation
We want a
too.
long bob. Yeah, longer. Yeah, don't let that back be
Okay.
exposed because I work out.
This is where we're doing our collaborative. Okay, we're doing our collaborative effort. So now in the back, well, how do you want it? Do you want the
She
graduation
should
in
want
the
it
back
to.
real
You
sharp?
should show it.
Okay, because you have some hair in the neck that's
Right.
shorter than the hair
Right.
in the occipital.
It's already ready.
So you want to blend that so that it's all making sense and just blend it from the
Yeah,
shoulders
it's
up.
because it's already ready,
It's a new
Shares.
beginning, girl.
It
Let's
is.
do it.
I'm
Already
already
there.
doing it, but I gotta
She don't
keep
wanna
this
expose
edged
it.
up, and then
Well,
soon
then,
as I work
it's
out,
okay.
that's gonna be
We're
a
not
I might have to
gonna
zap
know.
that a little bit.
Oh,
so
okay,
relax
great.
it.
Yeah,
We're not gonna
that's what I
shave.
want. I don't care about the graduation.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Making
yeah.
sure.
She's
We
gonna
need
go
to
back
talk.
up to show.
So,
I just don't want this to show.
Well, he
real
gonna
quick, right?
cut
I
that
need,
down.
like, don't
Right.
go there. I don't care.
well, you gonna show that.
Right, it's gonna be.
Just zap that a little bit for relaxer. Yeah.
This is why we need to talk.
And
Yeah.
right. What's gonna happen as soon as I work out? That's gonna be
That's
juicy,
right.
just like that.
Right,
and I
because
ain't
you
gonna
are
be
natural.
mad.
So, okay. So we can start it here. So we have that hair that covers.
Yes, she needs
Okay, and
coverage.
we can
Sounds
start to graduate that.
Yeah.
Okay?
That works.
Collaborative.
Yeah.
Right?
Very well
All
put.
right, cool. I said we need to talk.
Cause I have to work out.
Right, I feel you.
And shower and all that good stuff. Drop real quick.
True. Don't take that long bath. Take that back. You thought it was good. And then it'd be in that bag. So because she wants to like kind of keep that, I can go maybe about half an inch to an inch below that to start. Because I'm going to be doing some cutting. So I'm leaving myself some room to play around. So I'm going to start now. With this, what could be technically, if I want to just stay real technical, I'm going to, section this out, in a V shape. Bring this hair down, cut, section out, follow that line, cut, section out, cut, section out, cut. If I cut in the first area, Then the second area, I bring that out, but elevate some. I'm going to start to stack, you know. Or I can grab a larger section. And create an outline. So then I have an outline of where I want to go. That's the difference. I'm still hiding underneath there, you know.
I think we all.
And it's good to not, like, because her hair is textured, because it's not even, you know, go ahead and use your point cutting. Because if you go and try to be as, you know, precise as, you know, you want to be, once you press it, it's still going to be off a little bit because her natural curl has made it not a straight cut, you know. So it's good to kind of go in and just freestyle it a little bit. And also, that's what makes it fun. I didn't, you know, I still want to have fun. Okay. I need to be fun and fun. Okay. I feel you. So, and then I can just take a larger section and do the same thing. I can see underneath there where I had previously cut.
So one thing I noticed that the hair is not pushing with the shears, right?
What you saying?
That the hair is not pushing, like when
It's
you
not
cut with the
pushing it
shears,
out.
that's what
Right.
makes them.
Because I could just cut
How you
and mix
pronounce
it.
that?
Cut.
Hanzo.
Sometimes when your shears are a little dull, you're playing the violin.
Yes.
Because you are cutting
Snatch
and
back.
trying to
Snatch back.
snatch back, right? To make sure that it's
embedded.
right where you want. And then you get so used to using a dull pair of shears that that just be your way of cutting. Playing the violin all the time. So
cracking up. Ready to.
so we don't want to be playing no violin. And this part is just a little intricate. And you know what the client is thinking at this point? She's like, oh, he getting good. He getting good in the back. I know I'm about to be the whip. Because you know, that's what some of the older ones say. I'm about to be the whip. Well, y'all remember Tough? Ooh, it's Tough. Maybe that's a little too.
No.
It ain't. Yeah, we got you. We with you.
That's that 80s, 90s,
Uh-huh.
early 90s,
That's
80s.
So now I'm just starting to pick up this here. Kind of cleaning up a little bit. And you can kind of see how that's forming, you know. And then she's going to have that. And I can just take this whole other section down now.
I would.
See where I'm at. You work in the confines of what you can see. So I could take that section because I could see where I was at, but you can break that up if you could.
How many inches is your shears?
These are 7-inch.
And what's the smallest?
5,
5.5.
About 4.5.
4.5.
The shears run from 4.5 to 8.5.
4.5?
There are different models and everything. I think we're up to about like 54 different styles that we offer now. So a lot of it just comes down to the particular handle set and also the composite steel.
But yeah, we have them as small as 4.5 all the way up to 8.5.
So that's a little heavy. So I'm gonna switch off into my V, or these are my VTs. My,
This is what we gotta buy to keep my hair cut.
if you don't want no splitting ends. So now I can go through this middle. I'm gonna drop that bottom perimeter out, and then I'm gonna just go through and use the protection.
Y'all can see her face. Y'all can see her
I'm over here leaning like.
It's looking good, girl. It's looking good.
Like my hair.
And it's just the technique.
So they can know what to do.
It's just getting the bulk.
Getting the ball.
Yes.
I've set the foundation.
Yes. But you have, I, that's one of my favorite things to do too, is to cut. But sometimes you'll have clients, because you're finessing, they get a little scared sometimes because,
You cut.
but you just, you know, kind of smooth them over like, baby, I got you. I know what I'm doing.
I be like, it sound like
They
I'm
came
cutting
for
a
it.
lot,
I always
but
say
now
you came
I'm
for a
just
reason.
looking at the text and
You came for a
Sure,
reason.
I said exactly what you said. Like,
Yeah, you came for a reason. So you just have to reassure them, you know, this is how I do it. We done already talked about the picture. We already, I got you.
I'm trying to look up in this mirror right here.
Build that texture in. See a little thick, but this is good because it's creating a lot of more movement. So then when she is just going about, she just head might fall off. Okay, because she got so much movement up in here.
Telemarketing, phone, everything. I think they lifted some, one of them laws or something. I just be hanging on. Oh, I just
Oh, that body. She had body anyway. She really got it now.
All we need is that color in here.
Don't keep talking trash
Let
like
it
you
go.
really want it.
He got the shears in his hand, baby. Let it go. I'm just trying to watch, I can't see the technique. Y'all watching the technique.
Monroe's got it on tape. I went back there.
Your whole haircut on tape.
That is beautiful. Do it, Greg. Do it.
It's so pretty.
So it's just, even just, if I did cut a lot of hair, but it's still looking lengthy.
Yeah, and
It's
full.
just
And
so
full.
much more movement, and so it's just about, I think the cut having a lot more functionality. It's the whole benefit of having a haircut.
Right.
And so some people be like, oh, you didn't really cut a lot, so is this just a trim or a cut? It's still a cut, because it's a reshape.
Right.
We reshaping your hair.
Yeah, I've had that ass.
And so it takes more finesse and thought to do it. It's not just I trimmed a little bit, So I have to educate them like that. I'm sorry, y'all.
So when you talk about
Just
trim and
layer it
cut,
up, and I'm gonna still kind of clean it up some more.
when you talk about trim and cut, I know we don't want to get into pricing. Is that all included? How do you add on like the extra to like the shampoo and style? How do you charge for that?
I keep my shampoo and style a little basic.
I know you're in LA, so can we dig into how you No.
No.
On the East Coast.
I mean, it's cool because I used to always wonder that too. I charge $85
Okay.
for shampoo and style. Okay. And other things from working and everything is on that. So
Where you live?
it's still Los Angeles. So cellophane is $30 added on to that. Relaxers are $150. If you get
That's
A regular recycle.
cellophane, is that?
Yeah, it's
LA.
your demographics. You have to understand that.
demographics and your skill
Yeah, your
and what you use, the thought that you put into everything. If you go somewhere and you get a retouch and they don't protect your ends, You ain't putting no protectant on the ends. Am I really gonna pay more? You know, for that? You pay more for the care and the detail. You know, you add value to your service. You might have to work a little bit more, but take a little less. You know, to increase the ticket, you know, and work more efficiently. Because if you have a whole bunch of clients, yeah, you're gonna charge that because they ain't getting a lot. You know, but if you have, you know, 5 clients a day, you know, they all getting that special care. That's what they pay for. And you'll be surprised at who's willing to get that kind of service.
That's true. That's true.
You know, if you haven't been exposed to it, you wouldn't know.
Right.
Because
That's
the
so
more
true.
you know is the more you grow.
Yeah.
You know, you're only gonna grow to how much you have been exposed to. You know, so if you don't have never seen that, you would never do that. You know, now you see it with me. So something might open up if you've never seen it before.
Question.
Yes.
I heard you say cellophane. Are you talking about like plastic?
No, that's just, this is a term for rinse.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
but the rinse is,
Okay.
you know, almost, it's
Is it translucent? Is it clear?
just like when you have a, you know, they call them relaxer or perm.